Morning, everybody. Ace Trades here on February 5th, 2026. Looking at a 2000 tick chart with 21 EMA. The Bible says in Psalm 71, verse 8, "Let my mouth be filled with thy praise and with thy honor all the day." So I hope I glorify God with my mouth today. Often I use my mouth to ways I shouldn't. So that's my prayer for today. All right. So today I put my overnight high here and my overnight low here. And just not really, so ranging a little bit, and then we just pushed down one leg, two legs back, and then we made this new low here, and then a second leg down. This lower high here has too much stem on it. If you were, I just sat down, so I wouldn't have seen this anyway. But to me, this has too much stem on it to take as a short on a lower high. We're about 2 minutes from the open. So price is just kind of, I think, just kind of waiting for the open here now. We got one leg, two legs, but I'm not real keen right now on going, uh, taking a short. You can see often after we get this two-legged break, and if we get, now we might get this measured move here. We might get a measured move from, let's get rid of that, from here to here. All right. We got this going down. All right. And we got, so you might put a measured move from here and then look for something here. And sometimes it'll kind of get there a little sloppily. But you also have this one leg, two legs, and anytime you're in it doesn't necessarily, it's just a target. But typically in price action, after you get a distinct trend and you get a new low established for that trend, prices will usually attempt to reverse, and that might be what we're getting here. So we'll see, or it might make two legs and just keep grinding lower. But that's where we're at right now, and I will update whenever I see something else or a certain amount of time passes, and we just want to just kind of give a brief analysis of uh, the price action that's passed. All right, I'll see you then. All right, back briefly. I just failed to mention again, um, part of the morning chart prep, and you can see that we couldn't push through this EMA, so we may be uh, turning into a shallower downtrend in an attempt to push down to this measured move. We'll see, but seems like, just looking at it, there's not really enough structure here. It's clear, I can tell that this is two. This won't fit yet. Maybe if this pushes down, then maybe we can get a channel off here. Uh, and then maybe we can drag this down, but you can see that it's not, if we had a channel, if we drew something like that, we're not reaching the lows. But anyway, it's part of my morning prep. Just went over to Forex Factory, and we see that there is a red news item, the JOLTS jobs opening. So we want to be aware of that as the time gets closer. You just don't want to be stuck in a trade when that news comes out. However small or large it might affect the market, you may just get taken out in your trade, even no matter how good your analysis is. Anyway, I'll be back again in a little while. All right, everybody, just a quick update here because it's very volatile. Lots of bars printing today, so lots of activity. Um, so we came down here. We had this this move down, two-legged break, and then just kind of pushed down into a couple legs down here. Then it started to push up above the EMA. I mean, I could see how some people maybe wanted to take this, and depending on your target, the volatility bailed you out. If you're going for like 2 points or maybe 3 points, you got out of that trade, but that's not a good entry. Okay, so don't confuse making money with it being a good trade. Um, because you had this, once you get a break and you get legs down and we can't, there's nothing here uniform that I can find. You can just see, maybe you could put something here, but it wouldn't fit on the top. I just stay away from stuff and just wait for structures to reestablish, and then we start going up. So bearish though, I'm not ready to go. I'm not ready to go long or anything. And so we have this leg up, two-legged break, second leg up. Didn't quite make the measured move, pushed down again, and then we got this. Once we pushed back up here, I drew this because if we hit up here and come back again with two nice legs, then probably okay to go long. But we never made it back up to the high. Just started going sideways again. Um, this is kind of like a little range here. We kind of just temporarily broke out of that to the high, um, and then we started down again. And at first I would have had this drawn, um, something like this, okay, and then had the other side like over here. Um, if this had not happened at 10 o'clock, maybe you would have ended up with a two-leg correction on a break of this trend back to the EMA. Maybe we'd even draw it kind of like this, perhaps. Right? That would have been fair if we'd had two legs, but this just kind of spiked up and then spiked back down. And then once we kept going down, I thought maybe we can extend this off here. Will that fit? And then I thought, well, let's draw it off the bottom here, I think. Anyway, let me hold on. Just put it back to how I had it. Like that. And we had this, but we just didn't really get any good move. It just kind of grinded down here, popped up a little bit. I'm not going to short into something like that, um, just because this could also maybe be the break, and this could be a second leg down. We do go down further. We're really, struggling here. It's really struggling to try to push up. So any attempts to push up are smacked back down, but I don't see any clear structures that we could put together to trade. It's just very volatile and just kind of price just kind of meandering around, spiking up, but then spiking down lower and spiking up and down lower. And so I don't see any good entries here that we could take. So that's kind of where we are now. My little ellipse. I've been using this to kind of remind me where I was in the video after each pause. So lots of activity now. We're only an hour into the trading session today, and it's very volatile. So just people will tend to get antsy when they see especially when they see lots of stuff printing, and they're not getting any entries, and so they'll just pick something. Often today, when you just pick a swing, depending on your target size, the volatility will bail you out. But you don't want to get in a bad habit of just taking entries wherever, and then on a normal day when the volume is not so crazy and the bars are not so large, and you just randomly pick some place to get in to try to get a few points, um, then you know it kills you then. So I always just am patient. I draw my structures. I look for I follow my rules to take entries according to those structures. And I don't just willy-nilly try to enter just because, you know, 200 bars have printed and I haven't seen anything and it just keeps going lower. Um, that's how amateurs and newbies trade, and then they eventually get wrecked. Um, so that's all I got for right now. Talk to you again in a little while. All right, everybody. I just wanted to give an update here on just structurally what I'm seeing. So I know this is kind of very spread out. Let's zoom in here some so you can kind of see. So um, at this point, um, when you zoom out, so you have this structure, like here's our overnight high and stuff, uh, overnight low. We push down. We made a couple legs up. I drew that channel. Then we get this. We talked about all this, and then now we're moving sideways here. So here's structurally what you see when you get this is a common bottoming pattern. I'm not saying it's going to, but it's just something you need to be aware of because at this point you're probably thinking like, it's been down all day, and so in your mind you're thinking shorts, shorts, shorts. But this is a typical bottoming pattern. You get a couple big legs down. It doesn't even matter how big it is. It's just this is the type of thing that happens on any kind of price action time frame, but this is just a bigger structure that I'm kind of showing you here. You get this leg down, and after two legs down, we see it starts going sideways here, going sideways, going sideways. So what you often get, this is prices tend to go into a range after um, they kind of get exhausted before they start reversing. I'm not saying it's going to start reversing here. It might not even this resistance may hold and the sellers may be too powerful and push it back down. But just be careful with shorts because this is a common end pattern to prices moving in one direction. So even on a um, from a micro standpoint, you can kind of see that here. You get this push down, right? You get all this pushing down, and then on a smaller picture, you see this little range here. And what happens after prices finish that range? Boom, they push higher. They don't continue pushing lower, they push higher. And so you had this, we pushed higher. We hit this level of resistance, which ended up being like the top of a range. And then you get this push down back to the bottom. It tries to push up. It can't. It tests this again, pushes up, finds this level of resistance, pushes back down, can't get through this low. And so now this sometimes what happens with ranges is you'll get um, typically with ranges too, you'll get some uh, breakouts tend to fail. I know people often will trade breakouts, like they'll buy this breakout, and um, but when you you have to be careful buying breakouts. You need the breakout to get established by coming back and testing this level and then pushing higher. Then you can go with it. Um, because breakouts of ranges tend to fail. And so just as I was talking about this being a bottoming pattern, we see this makes a big effort to try to push out of here. Now this move up gets a break, a new high, and so it's trying to right here, it's trying to reverse off this new high back down into the range. The bears they'll try to fade this range, and the bulls will try to sustain this breakout. Who knows what happens? We just have to pay attention and follow the price action. This might have been a decent short here, but I wasn't concentrating because I was talking through this. So in here, I don't really see anything um, worth buying or selling because of the way the bars are printing. In fact, I've been looking at the 1,000 tick chart just because the way with the volatility today and the way the bars are printing on the 2,000 tick chart, you're not getting many entries. Not that we have been getting anything that I've liked, but just the way you're not getting clean swings printing, um, so to speak. But if you would look at the 1,000 tick chart today, you would see much cleaner swings that you could have opportunities to take trades off of. So I'm going to be looking at that for trades. And if I find anything, I'll be sure to update as well. That's all I have for now. We're watching to see. This looks like this is trying to hold this EMA after the bears tried to fade it, and it's pushing higher. So we may get a sustained breakout here of this range because the overall selling, at least temporarily, maybe played out for a little while. So we'll just follow the price action, and I'll update as things happen. All right, just here for a quick update, everybody. So when I left off, I think we were up here. We were trying to push through this, and we did. I think maybe right around here, we did push up through. This pulled back, held the EMA, and so I drew this as I looked at that as one leg up, and there's nothing. Once this, because of two things. One, I'm concerned about this range getting faded once we get a breakout, which it tries to. And two, this uptrend break and new high. Not really interested in taking along, especially it's just kind of grinding higher. You're not getting any clean pullbacks with rooms then to the uh, near term highs. So um, this is this is one attempt, two attempts, but that's way too close to take that. You can't take that. At least I wouldn't take that. So we're just kind of meandering around here. It looks like at this point it may roll over, and so I'm waiting to see will it roll over. It for some reason I don't have this. There's nothing there right now. I'm going to show you like what I'm doing when I'm watching this. This pushes up, um, continues grinding higher. You can't take any of these shorts because price is just grinding higher. Like even if you're looking at this, it's just number one, it's not a good idea to um, trade in the opposite direction when price is going against you, especially when you don't have any previous resistance. This is all on this move. This is all new territory for price. So, after breaking out of here, so this could tick lower and just push up. Same thing when you get that. It looks nice whenever after the fact you see it just dump down. But the same thing could happen to you. This could just be grinding here in um, very kind of steep, tight trend, and this could tick lower and just keep grinding up against you. So can't take anything there. Again, here I'm looking to see when price pushes down. Now we're um, keeping in mind, always in the back of your mind, that this is a very bearish day. So this might just be a little relief rally, and then the selling may come in again. So what I'd be looking for is very strong push down and holding off the EMA and pushing down to get any entries. But it pulls up to the EMA, it just kind of goes sideways. It's pushing down now, but there's nothing you can't. I will never short into. I won't say I will never. Very very rarely will I short into a low, even though it looks very nice. Like oh this looks like it's gonna go down, because you'll just get trapped on those. The best types of trades are when you're entering on the end of a pullback counter trend. Those are the best. So um, anyway, what I'm looking for here is so when I saw this and the fact that that bounced there like that, then I went, sometimes this sort of thing will happen. So I'll draw this off this swing, and I'll just be aware that okay, if I put this up here, that kind of fits. So let's just watch it and make sure. I don't want to short into this potential trend line and it bounces on me and goes higher. Now it doesn't look like that's going to happen. It doesn't really appear that this is a valid uptrend. Just price is just not sure what to do right now. So we're just going to keep watching it. And I'll be back next time I have something to talk about. Hey everybody. Market's closed now, as we can see over here. Um, we left off right here. Market slowed down. It was really volatile in the morning, and then it slowed down quite a bit in the afternoon, even though you still had a lot of, uh, you know, uh, pretty decent amount of volume. Um, so when we left off, I'll just show it like this. We left off, we were like this, and I think I was talking about, not wanting to get trapped. Looking for something coming down here, but then this looked like potentially this is forming an uptrend. Kind of broke out, and I think I said this doesn't really look valid, so I just left this on here so I could talk about it for the video, but normally, if I'm just watching price action, I would just, at this point, I get rid of structured drawings that end up not being useful. And then we came down here and we tested this level again and then spiked up. And so at this point, I'm thinking maybe this is going up for this measured move up. And it just kind of spikes way up and just kind of goes sideways a little bit, pulls back, pushes up again, pushes up. We're not really getting anything, starting to push down below the EMA. And then I think at this point, for probably about an hour and a half or so, I was gone. So I didn't even see this. I drew this later when I came back. And if you would have got something, initially I'm probably looking at this as a couple legs down, and then probably right here, when this rejects and pushes down again, then I'm kind of looking at this as like a bigger channel working down. I just do not see anything. It's not giving any pullbacks. Um, if you would have got a couple legs back here and would have attempted, then that would be all right. But just not gonna don't want to short into that EMA, and then it just doesn't retest. It just goes pushes higher. We're tuned to 220 now, pushing down. I was looking for something here. That's super risky because to me, because you get one leg up, this barely pushes down, and then another leg up, and then it closes way down here. If I'm looking for short, if this closes way down here, if this swing had come down here, and I've got room, but I don't have room to this swing. I don't, for whatever reason, buyers came in here, so I don't want this to just push down. Buyers come in and push it back up again. And something like this, I would look for this swing to close up here. Maybe I get a nice pin bar that closes like right there, and then I have room. I don't want to take that there, especially you can see the bar, how big the bars are. This is a 6 point or more, probably 2, 4, 6. It's probably at least 6 point risk there. And you don't even have, even if you're a one-to-one trader, you don't have 6 points to the lows. You can see once it gets to, I think it does keep pushing down, but gets to lows and just kind of goes sideways and then pushes up again. Um, that's what I was talking about. When you hit these, prices are trending, and then all of a sudden they go into these little range areas. Um, typically, unless there's other bigger structures, typically it's gonna go the other way. Like this is typically a topping or a bottoming pattern, so you have to be very careful. Sometimes people get dialed way in here, and they don't. It's difficult to see, what the context is. Maybe they're got their chart web so they can see every little point and they know exactly where they want to get in, but you kind of lose perspective of where you are and what things are doing. And maybe they're looking for something like this, and you're like, oh, this is like a lower high. I'm just gonna go short right there, fade this into the range, and then it bounces out of there. Wouldn't have triggered, but anyway. Um, Ranges, typically you do get failed breakouts of them, but you also have to be aware of where these ranges are occurring. So spikes up, pushes down again. You're just not, there's no clear swings in here. You're just getting runs down, pushes up. This is probably like if someone would want to take a chance. If I would want to take a chance on a trade, this is the closest thing to it. It's clear. Otherwise, you're just getting overlapping bars, and these are all inside all this other price action. So there's nothing clean here. Pushes up. There's no clean swings. It's just this bullish move just ends in a bull bar and just then pushes down. This lower high is too far. Um, to take as a lower high. Pushing down, breaking, just this the the movements of the price is not it's not very fun to try to trade. And then here you are in 4 o'clock. And so on this time frame, you just didn't get much earlier in the day. On the 1K, there was maybe some spots where you could um, look for something like right here. Again, I wasn't around for this, but right here, again, you probably wouldn't have on. If I'm trading a smaller time frame, I usually look at a bigger time frame for context. But if you didn't have the, excuse me, if you didn't have the bigger time frame going, maybe you'd draw something like this. I don't know, maybe you'd have something like this going, right, as you're drawing this. It's probably not gonna fit well off the bottom. But if I saw that and I was looking at a smaller time frame, I'm maybe gonna draw it like this and see, okay, I'm getting some fitting across the bottom. Will this fit across the top for me anywhere? Stop it. Um, you don't really get touches up here other than this until you get to this spot. Um, this is for all of this static and not much. This is a pretty um, dramatic push up. This would be maybe a spot where you might take a chance. The other thing that's nice about the smaller time frame, the 1000, is your risk isn't going to be as big because the bars are printing in half of the amount of ticks. So usually then your ATR is probably in half. Um, that might be a place, even if you're not expecting this to come all the way back down here. Um, that's a decent spot to um, try a short there. The other issue is, so it looks like it wasn't too bad. If you're watching the time down at the bottom of the screen, you see 129. That's when that bar started. 130.17, 130. So these bars are printing like every 30 seconds, which isn't too bad at this point. Earlier in the day, they were printing like every 8 to 10 seconds. So even when you go back and you look at a static chart, there's also can also be kind of deceiving. Even when you look at a static chart, you're like, oh, that would have been a good entry. Sometimes you don't have time to get in because of how quickly the bars are printing. Let's look here. This so 42. So you can see like that bar started at 42.18, that one 42.26. So these bars are printing like every 8 seconds. And sometimes you can't see, but sometimes this will be way down here, and then all of a sudden in the last second or two, it'll pop up. So it's not even like you're really, even if you were thinking about taking a long here, you don't even really have time to get in the thing sometimes. But you lose that when you're looking at a static chart. So it's always easy to kind of go back through in hindsight and say, oh, that was a nice one. That was a nice one. But really, sometimes you don't have that luxury. Um, like, look at this guy. So even if you like this as a short, and you move up, you have this leg down, move up, break, new high. This bar started at 10:53, 10 a.m. That one's at 10:53:18. So this bar took 8 seconds to print. 18. This one starts. So this bar took 6 seconds to print. Now, maybe you're not even like looking for that because you can see this went all the way up here. Then maybe this shot back down in the last second. So you might not even have a chance to get in that trade. So sometimes looking at charts in hindsight really isn't that profitable. Other than understanding like how price movements are working. Um, like it's helpful to see. Let's go back to the 2000 tick chart. So that was the rest of the price action for today. Now, I'm going to scroll back out. So depending on what kind of device you're looking at, this may get difficult to look at. We'll get rid of this because I don't need that anymore. Um, but when you it takes time to see what's going on. Um, but so you have this move down, and then I talked about I had measured moves drawn here before. I got rid of them because they're not really helpful. Once once everything plays out, it just clutters your screen up. I'll leave some things on, but others I'll get rid of. So you have this move down. Here's your break, new low, and then this kind of starts to reverse. You get two legs up. Maybe you're drawing this as a channel. It ends up, not working out. You get this trend down. I don't really see any good pullbacks. It was pretty like these moves were pretty weak. Like even when you got pullbacks, it didn't really pull back far enough to give you comfort in taking an entry. Things were like had already played out, or it's just grinding lower and then it goes sideways and then dumps, pushes up, goes sideways, grinds, pushes up. You get this massive bar. Um, but you can see on the big picture, when prices start doing this, going sideways after significant movement in one direction, you have to be careful about trying to continue taking trades in the direction where the price was previously going, because this is typically you might call this distribution, where um, once price is done going in a certain direction, the bigger people will look for ways to get out of their position before it starts going the other way. Um, so anyway, when you see a range after large movements down or up, this is usually what happens before prices start at least attempting to go the other direction. And sometimes you'll get movements where this will start going up and then it'll just, maybe do something like this and fail, and then the pressure will come back in. But you just have to be aware that when prices start going sideways for some time, especially, it all depends on what size structure that you're looking at. If it's a smaller structure like this, maybe it goes sideways for a little bit and then it goes higher. But if you're looking at bigger price action, it's going to go sideways for maybe a little longer. Like this went sideways for, you couldn't really start to see it until maybe here when that failed and pushed down. You're like, oh, this is like more like a range, because at this point you're wondering, is price reversing off this range and going to go higher? Well, it hit this resistance, this level, and turned into resistance again, and then we started going sideways. Um, and so that, we kind of went sideways for like an hour before we started to try to reverse. But anyway, that's the kind of the bigger picture for the day, and I didn't really see too many good trades today on this time frame. If you had time on the other time frame to get in, then maybe that would have been more beneficial. But I think we'll end this for today, and come back again tomorrow. I'll see you then.